In 2019, Rory bought a property that has gone up over $300,000. In this video today, we're going to show you exactly how Rory achieved such an incredible gain in such a short period of time.
When Rory first reached out, we found like a really strong value and goal alignment. He was living down in Sydney. He was working for one of the biggest companies in the world as a junior, really in that grind phase, working ridiculous hours every single week, was super time poor and just wanted to get things started as he was a young bloke wanting to build his property portfolio. Now, being a first-time investor, Rory really didn't know where to start. He didn't have a community of like-minded people. He didn't have a mentor or coach that could guide him through the process. And he really didn't know whether or not it was going to be a good time to buy back then.
Now, at the time, Rory had a $440K budget, and so we took him to an undervalued suburb on the northern beaches of Brisbane called Margate, where he bought a nice big 600 plus square metre block of land with an older style 3-bedroom home, which was positioned at the front of the block, which, although it looked a little bit run down, still had great bones. Now, Rory picked up that property for $430K, which at the time was renting for about $400 a week. Now, at that time, Rory wasn't quite sure about his long-term strategy, but he did know that he wanted to own an undervalued beachside blue chip suburb in Brisbane. So we bought him a house with renovation potential if he ever wanted to do that, knockdown rebuild potential if he ever wanted to do that, as well as granny flat potential if he ever wanted that second income and some tax benefits, leaving his future as open as possible for whatever he wanted to do in the future.
And what we loved about that plan was the fact that he could only afford a $440,000 property at the time, which got him into the market, but he wanted some options to add value down the line, which is a really common theme for a lot of first or second time investors.
Now, fast forward to 2024, it looks like the property has absolutely blown up. Rory's made more than $300,000 in gains. The property today in its current form, before he's renovated, added the granny flat or knocked it over, is currently worth $750,000. And in the current market, could easily rent any day of the week for between $550 and $600 a week.
And the crazy thing is that's a realestate.com and a CoreLogic valuation, which is normally a little bit more conservative than what you would find if you were to actually put that property on the market. Now, Rory has no intentions to sell this property right now at $750,000 because we still feel as though there is a lot more potential for the long-term future as well.
In fact, there was just an article in the Australian Financial Review looking at this exact part of the city where they expect the average house price to go from about $750,000 to $800,000 right now to some point between 1.3 and 1.5 mil by the Olympic Games. Now, what's even more important to me and Simon than Rory absolutely balling out on this property and making over $300K is the person Rory's been able to become through taking action consistently over the longer term in the direction of his dreams.
Now, one of the most beautiful things about Rory, and we were talking about this recently in a conversation, is he's realized financial peace. You know, he's taken a lot of pressure off himself, but because he knows in the long-term future that just with those 3 properties, and even if he just had this one property, it will be giving him freedom and choices as he gets into those later years of life.
Now, catching up with Rory the other day in the session that we did where we connected all of the action that he's taking with where that will place him in 10 to 15 years from now, we both got super emotional because he's been through it. He went from working those 60 to 80 hours a week in the lower paying corporate jobs to being able to get outside of corporate now and do whatever he wants for work. He went from being single to finding an incredible partner, and now they're able to use some of the savings that he's made through these properties as well as the equity in these properties to talk about buying their own home on the northern beaches without really putting any of his own cash down. And most importantly, he's now able to have choices in his life, live his values, as Simon said, without that constant pressure of how it's going to work out in the future.
It just makes me so happy to hear that. And like, that's why we love property. It gives us choices. It gives us choices to do what we want to do, when we want to do it, a lot sooner than had we not invested at all.
So for those of you out there like Rory that are seriously thinking about investing in property in the next 3 to 6 months, Simon and I would love to offer you a one-on-one strategy session. Please just go to www.pumpedonproperty.com, click that free strategy session button and we can talk about exactly where you are right now, where you'd like to be longer term. We can educate you on the market and you can take that information and go and absolutely smash it on your own, or potentially become one of the extremely small number of clients like Rory that we work with each month. But either way, we wish you absolutely all the best on the journey and hope Rory's story has inspired you to continue to move towards your dreams.
Woo, that's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
Getting
Have a
cool,
spin.
bro. Yeah. Oh, sweaty. So sweaty. Oh, that's good. Look at that.
So nice.